Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to talk in this video about the importance of your staff at your clinic, whether you're a physical therapist, chiropractor. And I want to ask Annie, from her 25 years of experience as a business owner and working with so many clients, what would you say is, the biggest lesson that you've learned in terms of hiring the staff, the right staff to delegate your marketing line to?
That's a big deal. And I'm sure if you're listening to this and you're a business owner, you have encountered the subject of hiring staff. So who you have in your company is huge. They could make or break your company, the kind of staff that you have. You could get a golden nugget staff member on and you will see your whole company change and right before your eyes. Or you could also have a bad staff member on, and likewise, you could see your company completely crash out. So it's a very big deal. In fact, from working as long as I have in the field with chiropractors for 25 years, I would say that number one, hiring staff and who are on their staffing and how to handle staff is probably the number one ruin or RUIN or problem thing that it adversely affects chiropractors as business owners. It is an area, it is a big deal.
And can you share
So
with us a little bit of examples of what
sure,
what chiropractors that you've worked with have run into with the staff?
sure, perfect. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Like when you hire, let's just take just marketing, just the subject of promotion and marketing. Promotion and marketing have to do, by the definition of the words themselves, they have to do with making yourself known. That's what those subjects are about. Promotion and marketing are literally you will find in the definitions of those definitions. And I'm sorry, I don't have them right here, but if you look them up, you're going to see part of the definition is you make yourself known or your company known or your product known. You're making yourself known. So you do not want to have somebody that you post or hire or place on a position that's in charge of your marketing that in some way, shape, or form is very conservative or very antagonistic as a person or doesn't like people or doesn't like to communicate or has ideas that it's bad to communicate. Okay. So in 25 years, I've definitely run across it. It just happened to me the other day. In fact, this week, I had a chiropractor I spoke to. I can't remember where he's from. He called me because he was interested in wanting to help more crash victims. Great. So we had our first discussion like a couple weeks ago and we went over it. Well, he came back to me and said that he needed to check it with his staff. Understandably, he's going to have staff that he's going to take, he's going to have something he's going to put into his business. He wants to get agreement. Keep in mind, as a business owner, the minute I decide I want to do something and I think it's going to be the greater good for my company to do it in terms of its health and its viability, I'm not in disagreement with gaining people's agreement. You want to get people to understand what you want. So he went to me and said he wanted to check with his staff about getting more car accident victims in. And then he came back in our second discussion. We had scheduled another time to talk and he came back and said, well, I have one person that doesn't feel this or that about blah, 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 blah. My point is like the minute you're going to pick up a marketing line and a promotion line as a chiropractor that you deem that is going to be helpful to increasing the income of your business, realize the person you put over that job has to be able to communicate and be willing to communicate and willing to reach out. And they don't have what's called back off. They don't have some sort of like, oh, I don't want to communicate, or oh, I can't, or I'm like, blah, blah. I would put nobody like that that's on the front desk. I would never have somebody on the front desk that can't communicate, has problems with people, can't have different types of people to communicate with. Does not want to communicate, does not do well in communication. Those jobs are all about communication.
And in this example, you mentioned how this chiropractor went and checked with his staff. So what does that do? What kind of consequences happen if the chiropractor comes back to you and says, well, Annie, yeah, I'm not going to implement this marketing line because my staff are not in agreement. What happens to his income?
Well, their income's not going to go very well. I've noticed that I have run into and experienced chiropractors that are controlled in a negative way as well from their staff that are working for them. So if the staff are influencing a chiropractor in their company about how to run their company, that's going to help their company be successful, I would get rid of that staff member in a minute, like in a minute. Anybody that stops a person from reaching out and communicating and making them feel that what they're doing is wrong when it's actually not. If you're doing things and you've checked by the board, the chiropractic board of your state, the bar association as an attorney, if you're following the rules of the laws of the land and you feel like you've got a product that is a good exchangeable product for people to have that helps people, if you feel like you can help people and you have somebody on your crew that is making you be inhibited or stopping you from reaching out and doing that for any reason, that person is suspect. In my estimation, I would that they would not be with me at all any minute. I would let them go. Why? Because there's something in their space that makes them want to not have you communicate. And that's suspicious.
Yeah.
Why? Why does that person not want you to communicate? And my staff are very alert to that when we run into that with chiropractors that have staff that run them
Yeah.
and make them feel that they can't communicate broadly and loudly about who they are because they're trying to squash them. They're trying to inhibit them
Yeah.
and stop them. And I don't care how easily that's explained, how nicely it's put, how justified and rational the reason sounds. The bottom line, the end product is your reach, your help, your ability to help others is cut. And so that when
And
I
your
see
income is cut as a result.
and now all of a sudden you see your income as a chiropractor is all of a sudden cut as well. Let's look at it. There's different people in the world, right? There's different types of people in the world. And types of people are one thing, right? What I'm talking about is when you're running a company, a team, right? This is great for guys that are into sports. This is a really good idea with regards to sports. Like this can translate easily in the subject of sports. When you have a sports team, you want the players of that team to be in alignment with each other towards winning. And usually winning doesn't just have one guy in mind. It's usually a team effort.
Yeah.
And you're playing to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
And you are everybody together is part of that forward motion of making it happen as a group.
Now, let's talk about when we run into staff members that are really, really good. They really flow power and push and contribute motion to the chiropractor and the team. Could you tell us a little bit about that, of how you've
Absolutely.
experienced other offices shine with their
Yep.
marketing and their promotion and their income when they
Yep.
delegate their communication lines and promotions to the right person?
I'm going to elaborate on this point a little bit. How do you know that you have a staff member that's working for you, right? Your business has products it produces, right? Like it has things it makes, services delivered, right? And those can all be measured. However you measure those can be measured. Now we have our own stat program on how we measure things. Each staff member has statistics that measure their products, that measure their duties and actions. And it shows, is that staff member doing their job? Are they exchanging as a cog in the wheel of the company? Are they exchanging with the rest of the group, right? So you need to have a team that's got things that's exchanging with each other. We measure that by statistics in my company. When you have staff members
Mhm.
that are good, and when I say good, let's define that. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. If they're supposed to be booking people back for their visit on front desk and controlling that, you should have a stat for that. Like Jenny at the front desk, how many patient visits in a week is part of her stat? I think if I had a front desk girl, I would have that be her stat, patient visits in a week. Why? She's the person in charge of taking all the phone calls in, seeing all the people when they leave, and controlling that they're scheduled for their next appointment, all of that, right? So I would bonus her based on that. I would have her pay affected by that. So if you've got staff member that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're worth their weight in gold. And I would do everything possible to figure out how are you going to flow them power. See, they're flowing you power by doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're giving you life. They're giving your company, your survival life. And you can take that now from being a chiropractor as a business owner, and now you have more survival for you and your family, right? And how that affects everything. So if you have a staff member that's contributing to you, then I would figure out how are you going to contribute back to that staff member as well. And people that aren't contributing in one way, shape, or form, or are squelching it or even slightly inhibiting it, I'd get rid of them. I learned a lesson many, many, many years ago. I made a comment to a business associate of mine, and I was somewhat kind of newer in business, and I was looking at somebody who was a vendor of mine supplying me a product. They were supplying me something, and I told this person, I said, hey, maybe there's a way we can cut costs with them and like not pay them so much. And this person taught me a very good lesson. And he said to me, hey, how do you know that if you cut their costs, how do you know that that's not going to adversely affect their ability to survive and then also now be able to continue to supply that product to you? And ever since he said that to me, I was like, I looked at my relationships with even my vendors differently. If they were supplying me a good product, I'll have chiropractors that'll come to me and like want to like negotiate and cut my costs down. And I'm like, yo, dude, I'm supplying you with your income making line. Why would you be finagling me? Why are you even thinking of that, right? Why are you trying to cut my own reach on my lines, and what I'm trying to do? So
That cuts our survival, and
it
therefore
cuts
we're
our
gonna have.
survival to be able to even provide you a better, even better, product. So it's a very funny idea. No, I've changed my whole prospect of how I look at things now. And I'm very much more into like, who flows me power to survive? Either by their product, it could be by their communication, what they say to me, what they do for me, who flows me power. And then I look and I go, how can I flow that power back to that person? At the same time, I'm very selective about like, who am I going to flow a lot of power back to? And I always find the ones that are flowing me power. I find out if I need to pay them more money, if I need to, however, I want to make them part of my team. And you're trying to build your best team and build your team. So you need to pick your best team members to build your team with. And those team members are valuable. I also had another person of mine who I really like a lot give me a piece of information that I've since don't agree with. And he said that, oh yeah, staff are replaceable or expendable. And I don't have that viewpoint. I used to kind of think like that. Can you replace staff? Sure. But I don't have that mentality of an idea anymore. My idea is like, if I've got someone or people that are, and especially people that have really been like golden nuggets for me, they're a diamond in the rough. They're a different type of person. So they need to be handled and looked at in that line. So that's one thing that I see chiropractors will violate or business people will violate is they won't see that whole purview of how they can affect their own environment by who they choose and what they choose to do with people.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. So, to summarize our video today, we've learned two main things. So, one, we have to make sure we're not delegating our promotion and marketing to people that have a back off with communication or wants to stop communication or inhibit communication. I think those were great examples. On the other hand, we do want to hire people to run our promotion and marketing that love communicating, that loves people that loves helping, that does believe that making your products and your services known are key to your survival. I hope anybody watching this video is taking away those two main lessons,
Yeah.
because we want everybody that we work with to win. We provide crash victims. There's so many people getting injured out there across the country every single day, and they need help. Chiropractors, physical therapists, and personal injury attorneys, there are many good ones out there, and they should make themselves known to help as many people as possible. So we're in
Yeah.
the business of helping people, making their lives better, and helping other businesses grow as a result, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good. So we're going to end off the video for today, and I'll see you in the next one.